everyone. Welcome to this beauty blog, Skinterview. I'm your host, Vanita Sivamani, and I'm here today with Rachael Pontillo. Rachel, thanks for being with us. We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So to start, could you tell us a bit about your background and what sparked your passion for holistic skincare?
Absolutely. So my interest in holistic skincare really came out of necessity because I'm someone who had acne for almost my entire life. It started when I was about 10 years old, and it persisted through my teenage years into my 20s, got worse with one of my pregnancies. It got better with one of them, but then it got worse again. So I had this little shadow of hope that, oh, it's gone. And then sure enough, nope. So it really wasn't until I learned a lot more about ingredients, about the skin, and then about causes of certain skin conditions, and made a lot of changes in my own life that got me the relief that I needed. And that wasn't until I was in my early 30s that it finally went away. And I went and got an aesthetics license to learn about the skin, and I studied herbalism and skincare formulation to learn more about ingredients and products and how they worked on the skin. And I also went to holistic nutrition school to learn more about foods and how they affect the body and how to nourish the skin from the inside. And just continued learning and studying, taking a lot of continuing education courses to just learn exactly what the connection is between diet and skin, and also between skin and health, because they are interconnected, but it goes both ways. It's not just inside out, it's also outside in.
Sure.
So that's really, necessity is what the compass was. And it made a huge personal transformation in my life. And, you know, when something really good happens to you, you kind of want to scream it from the rooftops, and you see that other people are living with the same challenges and you want to help them. So that's what I did. It's not something that I ever intended to do professionally, but it's something that helped me so tremendously, and I saw a need. And once I started working with people and really duplicating a lot of the process that I went through, of course, it took them a lot less time because now we had a bit of a structure. But I saw I saw similar results happening for other clients, for clients in general, for acne, for rosacea, even for more stubborn skin conditions like melasma and eczema, and saw that, okay, there's really something here.
And so is this part of what sparked your impetus for the the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance?
So it's part of it. And the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance, for those who are not familiar, is a professional organization of which I am proud to be president and co-founder. And we serve estheticians, we serve health coaches, nutrition professionals, anyone who serves people with skin health concerns. We also serve moms who have teenage kids who have acne. We serve people who have adult acne. They don't know how to handle it. We serve herbalists, aromatherapists, skincare formulators who are wanting to know a more in-depth approach, that integrative approach to healthy skin. And essentially, really, the idea for nutritional aesthetics came out of the idea that holistic aesthetics was kind of already defined in numerous ways, so we couldn't really call it that. But it came because, you know, my own private practice stemmed from my transformation, what happened to me, and then I duplicated that process with my clients. But the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance came when I started having other conversations with people who were similar to me, who had skin issues or health issues. And by combining health and skin, nutrition and skin, as well as lifestyle changes and mindset changes, they were getting the same types of results as I was seeing, both personally and in my practice. So we really noticed that a lot of these practitioners kind of felt like wanderers and felt misunderstood. It was really hard to find like minds to have conversations on, okay, well, you know, how do we support each other? How do we support our clients? How do we get the right type of continuing education so that we're learning the right information from valid sources, and also that we're drawing on wisdom from the past, but also staying abreast of the cutting edge technological and scientific advances that are happening both in nutrition and in skin health? How do we do that? So what we wanted to do in the Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance is really create that platform and formalize the skin health link as an integrative field of skin health practice. That's we're really proud of it. We're growing it. The feedback has been incredible. So it's really just bloomed from a personal experience I had to then recognizing that other people, other practitioners are having this experience too. And we really just wanted to create a place where these like-minded people can come together and find support and unity and just push this field of practice into the future of skincare. And that I truly believe is the future of skincare.
Sure, yeah, that's terrific. What do you feel like are the three most important things that our listeners should know about nutrition and their skin?
Three most important things. Well, first and
Mhm.
foremost, nutrition affects skin. And anyone that says otherwise, whether it's a dermatologist, I know we have dermatologists who still say that there's not a connection between food and the skin. It's not true. Science is showing us there are studies that come out several times a year and more now that are showing that there are specific links between food and the skin, between stress and the skin, between lifestyle and the skin, between certain substances and the skin. There are many skin conditions that have specific food triggers that we know. In my book, Love Your Skin, Love Yourself, I call it the skin trigger trifecta with gluten, dairy, sugar. Almost every single skin condition can be linked back to some kind of a sensitivity of one or all of those triggers. And there are additional ones. Those are the top three that I've identified in my practice. But there are others as well that can certainly be a factor. So it really is a fact now that is evidence-based that food and skin health are intimately related. So that's really the most important thing. And the second thing is that topical skincare does matter. What I noticed when I first started learning about holistic nutrition is that a lot of health coaches and nutritionists were writing that, oh, you don't need to worry about what you put on your skin if what you eat is right for your skin. Well, that's not exactly true because the skin takes a lot of beating. It's our first line of defense against all the environmental aggressors. It's our body's armor. And it gets kind of the last of the nutrition that we put into our body. The nutrition and the hydration that we put into our body first goes to nourish and hydrate the internal organs. And by the time it gets to the skin, it's like, wah, 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 here's your leftovers. So while it's very important because skin cells are formed inside, they're not formed outside. And by the time they get to the surface, they are essentially dead. They are ready to fall off. So we do need that nutrition on the inside to make sure that by the time they get to the surface, they are as healthy and resilient as they can be. But we do still lose a lot of water through the skin, and we have to also add protection to the skin to fortify its barrier. Its barrier function is part of what keeps us healthy. It helps us regulate temperature. It helps protect the nerve endings. It helps our bodies stay hydrated. And if that barrier is not nourished and protected, then a lot of negative things can happen to our overall health because the skin is such an important part of our overall health. So I truly believe, and nutritional aesthetics teaches, that you need the inside out with the diet, but you also need the outside in by hydrating, nourishing, and protecting the skin on the outside with nutrient-dense skincare products that are as non-toxic as possible. And then finally, the third thing is that what's in your mind has a lot to do with how your skin is going to look. We already know that stress both directly and indirectly affects the skin, both through the gut, but it also, if you're under a lot of stress, in my book, Dr. Georgia Tetlow, who is one of the NAA's advisory board members, she quoted in my book, Love Your Skin, Love Yourself, that stress actually disrupts the acid mantle and it causes certain mineral deficiencies to occur on the surface of the skin. It doesn't even have to go through the gut for that to happen. So stress is really important, but also self-image is really important because I've heard it from so many clients, and I'm sure that many of your listeners have heard this as well, that, you know, oh, it's too expensive, it's too time consuming, I don't have time for that, I have other responsibilities. Well, guess what? If you don't believe that you're worth it, it's not going to happen. So you have to first have the right mindset to want to help yourself, to want to put in the effort, to want to make the investment of time, money, and energy in order to have all of this be the right thing for you as an individual. You have to have that level of self-worth. And sometimes when I work with a client, I have to start there. Because if the frame of mind is not conducive to the work that we're going to do, then it doesn't matter what I give them to eat. It doesn't matter what I give them to put on their skin. If they're not going to do it because they don't feel they deserve it or they don't feel they're worth it, that's not going to work. So we have to start where the client needs it most.
Sure, yeah. So it sounds like it all ties back into the integrative kind of holistic approach
Yes,
that you mentioned at the beginning.
absolutely.
So, what are some of your favorite skin foods, and then how do you actually incorporate them into your diet?
Mhm. So that's there's too many to name right now. We'd be here all day. But I'm a very big fan of green smoothies. I think greens in general are very important for the skin. In my book, I list them as its own food group. I think they're that important because they are rich in just so many phytonutrients and essential fatty acids and plant-based protein that's bioavailable, that all of these are building blocks that the skin needs. So I am a big believer in having green smoothies because I think it's a practical way to get your greens, because let's face it, we don't always have the time to have adequate servings of your greens with every meal. But a green smoothie can be a really quick thing that you either whip up in the morning if you have a fast blender like a NutriBullet or a Vitamix, or I even make them ahead of time and put them in jars and keep them in the refrigerator and just have them grab it on the go. For an afternoon snack, it's great because it's a snack that's not going to add sugar or unhealthy fats or unhealthy carbohydrates into your diet. It's all whole food based nutrition with all plant-based nutrients that are going to fortify the body, nourish the skin, bring energy, all those good things, hydration. So I'm very big on dark leafy greens and cruciferous greens for skin health. I'm also really big on berries, basically anything that has color, bright colors naturally. I'm not talking like candy bright colors. I'm talking bright colors that exist in nature. So when you think pigment, beautiful pigments in food, that's where your antioxidants are. And we know that antioxidants are very beneficial for the skin in so many ways. They help to nourish, but they also help to protect and heal certain damage that may have already occurred. There's so many benefits. So berries, strawberries, also high in vitamin C, raspberries, blueberries. Again, if you are not able to eat fresh berries all the time, because I know if they're out of season, it can be a problem. I do recommend frozen organic berries. If they're out of season, you can put them into a smoothie. I know for me, we make a lot of ice pops out of fruit smoothies because I have two kids, but one of my kids will only eat fruit if it doesn't resemble the actual fruit. So we'll just whip it up in the blender and put it in molds, stick it in the freezer, and then she has an ice pop and she loves it. So berries, greens, healthy fats. So essential fatty acids like omega-3s are really important for healthy skin because those healthy fats are going to help keep those cells resilient and also help to lock in moisture. So salmon and other fatty fish, smaller fatty fish like sardines, anchovies are typically easier to get a hold of than some of the larger ones, and they also have fewer issues with mercury and other heavy metal contamination. If you are going to do a supplement, I would say make sure it's the highest quality one that you can get your hands on because it's really important. But you want to have the right balance of essential fatty acids, of the EPA, ALA, and DHA. And there are plant sources. If you're a vegetarian, you don't have to have the fish. You can also get these essential fatty acids by nuts and seeds. Certain oils like coconut oil, flaxseed oil, if you have them in your salads or in your smoothies or you cook with them, that's another way to get them. But omega-3s are especially important because they're harder to find in the food and our bodies don't make it, whereas omega-6 and 9 are much easier for our bodies to come by. I do a lot of chia seeds. Walnuts are fantastic for omega-3s. You can also find omega-3s in your dark leafy greens. So those are some of my favorites, but I love things that I can make ahead of time and store either in the freezer or in the refrigerator because I'm busy. I don't have time to cook a fresh meal every single day, but I also don't like eating out because you don't know what you're getting. So I like to know what's in my food. In my book, The Sauce Code, actually, I teach you how to use plant-based sauces to prepare ahead of time. And it's really simple to do that. But always having some grains ready to go, like brown rice or quinoa already cooked in your refrigerator so that you can just whip up a quick little sauce and throw it together and heat it up and you're good to go. If you do eat meat, you could always find some chicken and just cook it ahead of time on like a Sunday afternoon. Put it in the refrigerator or the freezer so that it's already cooked, but it's healthy. You've cooked it yourself. You haven't bought it already pre-processed. Big fan of slow cookers, soups, stir fries, stews, anything that you can just put in a pot, make a lot of in big quantities all at once, and then portion off and save in the freezer. So I'm all about making things practical. So smoothies, stir fries, soups, those are all easy, practical ways to get your beauty nutrition.
Sure, yeah, those are some great tips. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Rachel. It was wonderful speaking with you and to learn more about the work you're doing and your passion for integrative skincare. It's fascinating. So thank you so much. And for our listeners, if you liked this video, please go ahead and like it, share it, and we hope to see you again soon.